try to have a good time. We are live at the Baltimore Comic-Con. I'm Drew Manchu. Over here we got the great legend, and we got another legend with us here in the middle. This is Mr. Cullen Bunn, writer extraordinaire, works on every kind of comic from here to there. What are you working on right now, Cullen?
Oh man, I'm working on a ton of books. I'm doing a lot of creator-owned stuff right now. I'm doing Knights Temporal with Aftershock. I'm doing Dark Arc After the Flood with Aftershock. I'm doing some books with Dark Horse, Manor Black. I'm also got a new Harrow County series coming out with Dark Horse. Comes out in just first issue comes out in just a couple of months. In December. And then I got a bunch of other creator-owned stuff that I'm kind of cooking up behind the scenes right now. And then I'm working on, for Valiant, I'm doing a book called Roku, which comes out in just a couple of weeks, the first issue. And then some other things for them that I am forbidden to speak about.
Man, Cullen, let me ask you, the great legends here live, people. This is Cullen Bunn. You're just awesome. I love your stuff.
Well, thank you.
The stuff that's my favorite, of course, is the Six Gun series. Freaking awesome. And they got the Shadow Roads, man. Awesome stuff. I love your work on that Oni Press. My main thing is you're doing so many new projects. How do you find time to fit all those in during a work week or your schedule?
To be honest, it's just all about actually sitting down and doing the work. I mean, I treat this, comic books, it's a great job. Writing comics is a great job. And, anyone who complains about writing comics needs to be popped right in the head, right?
Heck yeah, man.
But I have to treat it like a job. So I'm, I sit down at 8:30 every morning and I work until 6 every night. And I work a lot of weekends too. I mean, I know that I've taken on maybe more than I should have, but I don't like it when if I'm not doing that, I feel like things are too thin. Like things aren't. I feel like I'm being lazy, or I feel like things are really going wrong. And the reason for it's all. It's a quiet desperation that's all going to vanish tomorrow. I live in a constant fear that working in comics is going to be done tomorrow. I'll wake up and I'll get a call that says you're done in comics. So I'm trying to get all of it out I can right now, because it took me a long time to break in. It wasn't an easy it wasn't an easy road for me to actually become a comic writer.
You talked about projects like Harrow County, Dark Arc, and Manor Black, and how I got to know you as a writer is through the Deadpool Killers.
Sure.
Right? So that's kind of a juxtaposition of some really dark, heavy stuff and some like really light slapstick funny stuff. And
to some degree,
you kind of nail both of them. Is there something that draws you to either subject matter? Do you find yourself being like, I want to write a funny book? Well, or do you find yourself being like, I've got this dark story in my head, I need to get it out? What would you say is your go-to? Because you're kind of all over the place. You write a lot of different styles.
Yeah, I like all sorts of stories.
Right.
And I like reading all sorts of stories. I like watching all sorts of shows and movies. So I want to write, all kinds of stories. But to some degree, like the Deadpool Trilogy, for instance, when I took that first book, Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, all they knew was that was the title. They didn't know what the book was about. They just said, we want you to write a book called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. I said, that's fine, but I'm going to write a horror story with Deadpool as the star. I said, Deadpool is the Jason Voorhees of the Marvel Universe in this book. So to me, I was kind of bridging two things. I was doing horror and comedy, which horror and comedy have always been sort of.
But by the time you got to Deadpool Kills Deadpool, that was just straight.
Well, that was all right. Eventually, it leaned much more into.
You got Panda Pool.
Yeah,
there, right?
Yeah, that was a much goofier progression.
Right.
Yeah. But I think of myself now as more of a horror writer. I like dark stories, but it's not the only thing I'm going to do. I'm going to tell I'm going to tell as many different kinds of stories as I can. But I definitely, if I were going to put myself in a bucket, I would say I'm in a horror writer bucket. A big bloody bucket of
bucket
horror
of
writing.
gore.
You're right.
Chum bucket.
That's right. That's
right.
Gross. That's disgusting.
I'm sorry. You get what you get. You get what you get.
That's right.
Now, you're doing a lot of creator-owned stuff.
Yes.
You're doing a lot of stuff with smaller publishers. I really loved your work with the big two. I really enjoyed your Magneto series and the work you did on Uncanny X-Men. Sinestro as well.
That was one of my favorites.
Fantastic story. Do you have plans to work with the big two on any other properties in the future? Are you more focused on the horror and creator owned driven
Well,
stories?
there are definitely no plans right now. My Scream #3 came out this week, and that is my last
really
Marvel
enjoyed
book
that.
in the foreseeable future. That could change, just like everything could fall apart, tomorrow. That could change tomorrow. I can get an email and I'm doing another book. But it's got to be a book that speaks to me on some level that I think I can bring something to, and I can really elevate the project.
Right. I thought you brought that darkness and the horror elements that Scream book in a lot of ways.
Well, yeah, and you mentioned like the books you mentioned, like Magneto and Sinestro and Deadpool, even Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. Those are books I'm very, very proud of. I would put those books up with most of my creator-owned stuff. I mean, that's stuff I really love. But we'll just, you have to see how it all plays out.
I like how you took Magneto and you put like kind of a dark serial killer twist on that. At least that first arc was very, very dark in the way that he was dealt with. In a way that they haven't really even delved into. He's been a villain forever.
Well, yeah, it was and that's a book when I first got that book. The editor said, "Hey, would you be interested in pitching to do a Magneto book?"
Right.
And I wrote that first scene from the first issue. That was my pitch. And that scene's where someone's talking about how they've seen something horrible. Magneto did something horrible, and then you cut to this guy and he has all these road signs jammed to his mouth. That was my pitch. I said, "This is the series. This is what it's going to be." And that's what sold them on me writing.
But it also sold me because as soon as I read that, I called my LCS. I was like, "Yeah, put me down for that. Put that in my pull box."
Yeah,
Drew. I'm sorry to break in line.
No.
The comic book community, you got thousands upon thousands of people watching on the Comic Core channel. They have some questions.
Okay.
First one, Chuck Load of Comics, one of the best channels you're ever going to see, and he had just hosted Ace Comic Con. Very phenomenal job. But he wants to know is, oh my gosh, I forgot the question. We're going to skip to.
Sorry, Chuck Load of Comics.
Brandon Stawinski.
I don't know what he's doing.
Brandon Stawinski wants to know, is there any plans for Bone Parish?
So Bone Parish, we wrapped it up. It was a 12-issue series. We wrapped it up. I would like to do another one, but I think it ends with potential to do more. But we'll see. I would like to return to Bone Parish and do more with it. I'm definitely doing more with Jonas Scarf, the artist from Bone Parish. We're going to work on some more stuff. So maybe, fingers crossed.
Bone Parish, man. And another one, I'm sorry, Chuck. Chuck's one of my, it's kind of like I'm surrounded by Cullen Bunn here. And this guy, freaking famous. I'm like one of your number one fans. I'm sorry. He knows I'm just crazy sometimes. Number one fan, one of the number one fans. But Chuck wants to know, what are your thoughts on Jonathan Hickman's X-Men?
All right, Chuck, buckle up. I haven't read a word of it yet. Okay. I haven't read any of it yet.
I have a question kind of related to that.
I have them. I have the first several issues in a stack, but I have not read any of it. And I see the spoilers online and people talking about here's what's happening, and it's all just sort of babble at this point because I haven't read any of the books yet.
Dang.
But it's really well paced. I mean,
I'm sure it is, and
the way that he unfolded the story,
it
might actually be a whole lot better than the story is as a whole. But a lot of that is production, and he does a great job on that.
Well, I've always been a fan of his ideas, and I think he's a big idea guy, and I love the scope of the stuff I've read in the past. I just haven't had a chance to read it.
Now, there's a post going around social media, and I'm not sure if you've seen it.
Oh boy,
it is about your 2015 run on Uncanny.
Oh yeah, I started that post, so I have seen it.
Is it
rumors and innuendo? Is that what this
about
is?
The Betsy Braddock is
cat. Yeah.
Now that seems to be the direction that they're going in.
Maybe. I don't know. They told me it was a stupid idea when I pitched it to them. So when I pitched it in 2015, they were like, "Nah, we don't like that."
Well, I'll tell you what. Next time I see you at the con, I'm bringing some of those Betsy Braddock to get you to sign them.
No, I mean,
this is your idea.
That's an idea that I'm certain other writers have had. Teenie Howard's writing that series, right?
I believe she's working the Excalibur,
and that's where Betsy Braddock would probably be. And I'm sure that it's such a natural fit of an idea.
Right.
She never saw my pitch. And that was stuff years ago. And like I said, that was my first pitch for Uncanny X-Men. when I put that together. And
so Rachel Summers,
Rachel Summers, and this was when the Terrigen Mists were, a thing.
Yeah.
So the whole pitch was that the X-Men were sending a team of mutants out into space to find a new world that they would live on, because the Terrigen Mists were killing mutants. And that was the direction. And then one person in the room after the meeting, one person in the room went to the others and said, "I hate that idea. We're not doing that." and then they came back and said, maybe we should. Do you have another idea? And I said, well, then I'm going to do a Magneto-led team, and it's just going to be.
And to be honest, I don't know what your idea would have panned out to be, but I was super happy to get more Cullen Bunn Magneto.
Well, Magneto would have been in the space book too. Magneto was always going to be it.
You write great Magneto villainous monologues.
Once I wrote Magneto in that original series, my X-Men's always going to include Magneto in some fashion.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
I got another question for you.
All right.
I know your time is short, and I wanted to let you know, what do you think about Baltimore?
Oh, it's great. I mean, the convention as a whole is awesome. I walked around earlier. I was walking around. I was messaging friends. I was like, you guys really should be at the show, because it feels like the kind of show you'd love. It's great. I haven't been to Baltimore it's probably going on 18 years. So this is my first trip back to Baltimore in a while. But this is a great show.
Well, I'm a Texas guy. Drew's a Baltimore guy, so I know he's happy to see you. And one of these days, whenever you're in Dallas, Texas area, DFW, the great legends.
I'm going to be in Dallas in November.
Awesome.
The weekend before Thanksgiving, there's a convention in Dallas I'll be in.
That is cool. One last question from the Great Legend Show, because we know you got to go.
Sure.
The sixth gun. If you could have any of the six guns, which one would you pick?
That's a good question.
That's a really good. It's a tough one too. But that gun that gives you eternal life is pretty sweet. Yeah. I mean, it has its drawbacks, but the idea of living forever sounds kind of amazing to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, sure, you have to kill innocent people, and okay.
She looks pretty amazing too.
But the
Brian Hurt artwork.
Well, yeah, Brian's awesome. And Brian and I are working on something new right now. We're cooking up something new.
I love y'all's combo. The Damned was phenomenal as well. I love the Damned.
Yeah. And that was Brian Hurt's art that on that the Uncanny X-Men stuff that's going around social media right now. That's Brian Hurt did those concepts. I don't know. Maybe the gun with the gun of life. Although the sixth gun with the visions of the future, and that was pretty. I mean, it would be nice to know what's going on before it happens.
Amen. And one more,
no spoilers. I haven't finished it.
Well,
this is the final question.
That's the baseline.
I bought it because this man told me I had to.
I'm not spoiling anything because it's a phenomenal story. I just love it. My last question is, what booth are you at here at Baltimore Comic Con, and what are you there for?
So I'm set up with Aftershock Comics. They helped bring me out to the show. It's booth 2001. And I'm just there. I'm signing books all weekend long. We've got a couple of Baltimore. There's two Baltimore exclusive variants for Dark Arc After the Flood #1. There's one at the Aftershock booth, and then one at the Baltimore, the swag booth or whatever. So we got two variants for that, and we're just selling a bunch of different Aftershock titles there. But I'll sign whatever you bring. So it doesn't have to be. I've had a lot of people say, "Will you sign something that's not Aftershock?" Just bring it. I'll sign it.
Awesome. What's it like? I got one more question.
All right, Drew,
we'll let you get back to your booth.
All right.
What's it like working with Aftershock in a con setting? Because I think they're, as a publisher, always putting out new and interesting things.
They are.
And it's one of those publishers that they do a lot of different styles and a lot of different great stuff. And it seems like they're growing and growing year after year. Tell us a little bit about working with that.
Yeah, they're a fun outfit to work with. They don't really shy away from any kind of story. They'll, if they think it's a good story and it's gonna be something that represents them well, they'll go for it. So there's all sorts of different, titles there. They bring up a lot of different fans that like different types of books, which is, that's really what comics has to do as a whole. We got to start appealing to a lot of people, that aren't just
cast a wider net.
Let's cast it. It's not just superheroes. It's not just it's not just horror. It's not just science fiction. There's all these different kinds of stories out there. And Aftershock, like a lot of the the publishers that are doing leaning heavily into the creator-owned space, that's the kind of stuff they're doing. They're presenting books for everybody, all sorts of people.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah,
man.
I appreciate being here, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Folks,
you so much, Cullen.
Appreciate
Cullen
it.
Bunn is here. Are you going to be here all weekend long?
I'll be here all weekend. Maybe leave a couple hours early on Sunday because of my flight.
Get here
but, yeah.
early if you're coming on Sunday.
Yeah.
Check out Cullen Bunn at the Aftershock booth. He's going to be signing books. Bring him some stuff. Give him some love. We appreciate you taking it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
man.
That was awesome.